Hey guys, Ryan here with a tutorial for the Members app. Once you get logged into the app, you'll come to the home screen where you will see 5 tabs at the bottom. As a quick warning, the Programs tab won't show up if you don't have a program, so you probably won't see the Programs tab yet. That tab will pop up once I've written your program. The first tab we'll look at is the schedule. There will be a few initial setup items listed in the schedule for the date that you signed up. You can change the date by tapping on a different date, or you can change the view by tapping on the week button at the top. You can tap on any of the items and it will take you directly to that section. For example, let's tap on Update Progress Photos at the bottom. This takes you to the progress photo area, and all you have to do is hit Add at the top right. You can change the date or add a caption if you need to, then simply hit Add Photo. You can take a picture from within the app or add a picture from your phone's gallery. Now, I will encourage you to take before and after pictures. Since you signed up for training, that probably means you may not be exactly where you want to be in terms of your physique or your look, and sometimes that can make you be embarrassed about taking before pictures, but I would highly encourage you to go ahead and take those pictures. I've had so many clients who have signed up and had amazing transformations. They've lost 50, 60, 70, and even 80 pounds, and then I didn't have any before pictures to compare to, and they were disappointed after the fact that they didn't have a chance to make before and after pictures. So I will encourage you to go ahead and take those pictures. It will help me to be able to track your progress better, and it will help you to feel so much more accomplished. Now, looking back at the schedule, you'll also notice the items that say Fill Form. You can actually fill out the forms in the app if you haven't already filled them out. Just remember to put your signature at the bottom and hit Save. Make sure everything is answered correctly before hitting Save. After you hit Save, the form can no longer be edited. This is for your security so that if someone somehow gains access to your account, they can't change your answers in the forms. We won't be utilizing the schedule a whole lot after the initial setup process, so we will go ahead and skip on over to the Coaching tab. The Videos tab will be where the tutorial videos live, which you're already watching. The PDFs will house important documents like how to take progress pictures and the RPE table, which we'll come back to shortly. You won't need to keep a check on the PDF section. If I ever add a document to it, I will send an email letting you know. Lastly, let's look at the spreadsheets. If you ever want to know what products I recommend, the Helpful Tools and Supplements spreadsheet is where to look. On the first tab, we have the food scale, bathroom scale, and flexible measuring tape, which are the only 3 mandatory items. Everything else on the spreadsheet is completely optional. On the next tab, we have all the supplements I would recommend. This looks like a lot of supplements, but you won't be taking most of them. You may only take 1 or 2, or you may not take any. Not all of these will be right for all people in all situations, so I've listed each supplement, the specific circumstances under which you may want to consider that supplement, and a link to purchase each if you choose to do so. Next is the exercise tools. Again, we have the item, when to consider that item, and a link to purchase. The most common item I recommend is the lifting belt, which is for those performing squats and deadlifts. Next is home gym equipment. You'll want to pay close attention to this tab if you'll be working out from home. Next, we have myofascial release tools, which are to release muscle knots. Last is the heart rate monitors for those of you who have specific cardio goals. And then moving on to the tracking tab, we've already looked at the progress photo section, and the food diary will automatically be populated by MyFitnessPal, so you won't need that section, which leaves results tracking. Looking at the body weight section, you'll see I've already entered a few weights, which we'll talk about in a moment. You'll weigh yourself daily as soon as you wake up, after you use the bathroom, before you get dressed, and before you eat or drink anything. This is called a dry morning weight. To add your weight, hit add at the top. The default date will be today's date, but you can change the date if you forgot to log your weight from a previous day and are going back to do that. This morning, I weighed 188.4. Save. Now, if you look at the top, in the middle, you'll see a chart button. This will show your progress over time and is the reason why I ask you to weigh every day. Each individual weigh-in doesn't mean anything by itself because weight fluctuates from day to day. Many factors go into the weight you see on the scale other than fat loss or fat gain, such as water intake, sodium intake, what time you ate your last meal, how much did your last meal weigh, did you work out yesterday, and many others. But getting your body weight every morning over time will give us a chart that shows the trend of your progress. If you'll notice, the example client has a spike up in the middle of the chart. This does not bother me because the overall trend in weight is down. The same thing applies if your goal is muscle growth. We just want to see the chart go up over time instead of down. Calorie intake is just for those who do not use MyFitnessPal, so we'll skip on to the waist measurement. The waist measurement section works the same way as the body weight section, so I won't walk you through it. The one note I want to make here is you will take your waist measurement once per week on the same day of the week in the morning, like with the body weight. You'll measure at the belly button, make sure the tape is level and snug, but don't dig into the skin. Lastly, what you've all been waiting for, let's look at the Programs tab. Let's look at Resistance Training Phase 1. When you tap on a program, it will display a list of every workout in that program. Tap Week 1, Day 1, and an overview of the workout will appear. Tap Start. One very important note before we move forward. If you look in the top right-hand corner, you'll see a square icon and a 3-line icon. The square icon is the card view, which is the default view. When in this viewing option, the workouts display as a circuit. Since I will not have your workout set up as a circuit, your exercises will be out of order. I'm hoping to get this fixed in the future, but for now, to fix this, tap the 3-line icon, which will display the workout in list view. When looking at the workout, you'll see the name of each exercise, the reps, the sets, the intensity for each exercise, which we'll talk about in a moment. And if you tap the information icon, it will display a video demonstration as well as a written explanation of each exercise. After watching the demonstration video, if you're unsure of if you're doing the exercise correctly, you can tap the camera button to record your form for me to review. At the bottom, there's also a stopwatch, which you can use to time your rest breaks. If you pull up on it, you have the options of using it as a timer or interval timer for high-intensity cardio circuits. When you look at intensity, you'll see an RPE target. When you go to log a set, you'll see a blank for RPE. You may remember me mentioning the RPE table when we were in the PDFs section. I'll throw that table up on screen now. We have the RPE scale based on reps in reserve. RPE stands for rate of perceived exertion, which is a fancy way of saying how hard was the set you just completed on a scale from 1 to 10. Reps in reserve means how far were you away from failure at the end of your set. If the set was your absolute max effort, you had no reps left in the tank and could not have done any more weight, that's a 10 out of 10. If you could not have completed any more reps, but could have been able to do slightly more weight, that's a 9.5 out of 10. If you could have done one more rep, that's a 9 out of 10. If you could have definitely done one more rep and could have done 2 more reps, that's an 8.5. If you could have done 2 more reps, that's an 8, so on and so forth. So basically what you're doing is you're taking how many reps you think you could have done at the end of the set, so how many reps you had left in the tank, and you're subtracting that from 10. So if you have 2 more reps left in the tank, that's an 8. If you have 3 more reps left in the tank, that's a 7. And if you have more than 4 reps left in the tank, that counts as a warm-up set. If that's a little confusing to you, it's okay. Just do the best you can with it. It won't be perfect, especially at first. We'll talk more about RPE later on, and you'll get better at using it over time. Now let's record a set. We'll do reps, then RPE, then weight. Hit save. You'll get a check mark letting you know the set saved. You can also see the sets saved ticked up to 1. This keeps track of how many sets you've done in the current workout in case you forget what set number you're on. It will reset to 0 at the beginning of each workout. When you go to save your next set, you'll notice the information from the previous set is still populated in the blanks. The reason why it's like that is actually a time saver. Most of the time we're going to be using the same weight and doing the same number of reps for each set of a particular exercise on a particular day. We'll say I did a 9 rep set of 365 pounds again for the next set, and it was an RPE 7 again, so all I have to do at that point is just hit save set. Let's say I do a third set with the same weight, but I'm getting tired at this point, so it was an 8.5 out of 10. All I have to do is leave the reps the same, leave the weight the same, and I'll change RPE to 8.5 and hit save. So you can see how it stays populated and how that can be a pretty big time saver, and that we can really use that to our advantage. Lastly, looking at dumbbell shoulder press, if you tap the squiggly line icon, it will display a list of all your previous sets for that exercise. This is an extremely beneficial reference tool. For example, let's say you're doing dumbbell shoulder press in the first phase of the workout, but we remove that exercise for the next phase of the workout. We may add that exercise back in for 8 or even 12 weeks later. Chances are you probably won't remember how much weight you previously used, but looking at the results screen, you can see that the last weight you used was 30-pound dumbbells, and it was an 8 out of 10 RPE. So you know how much weight you used last and how difficult it was. If you want to see how you've progressed over time, hit chart, and you can change the information that shows up on the chart by tapping the settings button in the bottom right hand corner. And that's going to be it for the app tutorial. If you do have any questions on anything in the app, definitely make sure to let me know. I don't want you to be confused about anything. We're in this together. You're awesome. God bless you and your family, and I can't wait to get started.